Welcome back to Full Deck Gaming. It's Slimeball. Today I am going to be comparing Porofessor and Mobalytics. Based on how well my previous videos have done, an unbiased review is not going to happen. People seem to prefer when I am a cynical prick and basically take a heaping dump on these apps. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. Before I get into this, please be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing if you're new. Drop a comment down below which you prefer, Porofessor or Mobalytics. I am going to be ignoring a lot of the functions of these apps and will be focusing on four main categories: pre-game, during game, end game, and overall game quality. The bottom line of this breakdown is how do these apps affect your gameplay. I'm not talking about any of the extra bullshit and crap that they got going on in their apps and stuff that doesn't really affect you unless you pay attention to it. I'm talking about just how does this help you in-game. Keep in mind that Porofessor is powered by Overwolf and can slow down your gaming machine. Mobalytics is not. So let's talk pre-game. Before we get to the bar, we all want to make sure that we are sufficiently buzzed so that we can save some money on drinks. Wait, hang on. Sorry, wrong type of pre-game. Let's try that again. In the pre-game, Porofessor comes in strong with rankings, labels, and logos to show who is ranked at what level without forcing your lazy ass to read. God, such an inconvenience, I know. The same goes for the roles that they have. It also has game breakdowns for the past 12 hours and past 30 days. So you can see that I have played one game in the past 12 hours, but I've played 30 games in the past 30 days, but only have 13 wins. Basically, you can tell who sucks, who hasn't been playing, who's on a hot streak, etc. Without going into the detail of the morality of it, because I do that in another video, you can use this to bully the absolute hell out of the guy who hasn't played in a month, or the guy with a less than average win percentage. Is it right or wrong to do so? Check out the other videos on this channel. I talk about it there. I'm not going to do it here. Porofessor also gives a scouting report with color-coded messages, but if you don't know what each thing means, you can mouse over it and find out. But something like high kill participation is pretty obvious if you ask me. If you don't know what that means, well, figure your shit out. Maybe I'm just really smart, maybe I'm not. If I'm not, then I'm probably not really smart if I have to think about it. Alright, this is getting paradoxical. Let's move on to Mobalytics, shall we? Mobalytics gives a breakdown comparison by role of each laner. It gives a scouting report of the good in the green, the bad in the red, and the neutral in the yellow. Same kind of thing as Porofessor. Good luck knowing what all this cryptic bullshit means, though. If you hover over each thing, it'll tell you. Good luck figuring out what the fuck Ready to Rumble means. It gives a champ and role stats for each legend right on the screen, as well as rankings for each player, regardless of if they are ranked or not. Mobalytics also has more champion information, so you can figure out some stuff. If you haven't happened to see this Prince of Persia meets Indiana Jones Tomb Raider looking motherfucker, new champion, really OP, that's all I really had to know. Yeah, you know exactly who I'm talking about. I don't know what the fuck he's called, but you know. You've seen him in game already. In round one, I am giving the edge to Porofessor because it's a little easier to understand the pre-game despite having virtually the exact same information as Mobalytics. Mobalytics may have champion info, but once you've learned a bit about the game, it doesn't really help that much. So, Porofessor is taking the first point in this challenge. Stick around to see who finishes on top. Phrasing. Porofessor has overlays to tell you how well you are farming and if you are meeting your goals. Spoiler alert, you are not meeting your goals. I can tell you that right now with no hesitation. I don't have to know shit about you. You don't have to know shit about me, but I guarantee you Porofessor is going to say that you are simping on that gold. Mobalytics does too, but we'll get to that in a minute. Porofessor and Mobalytics also give suggestions on which skills to upgrade. I think this is fantastic, especially when they don't align and tell you to upgrade the same skill, because that's not confusing at all, having two errors on two different skills. I don't know which one it was, but one told me don't upgrade my ultimate on level 11. I was really confused by that. Moving on. As far as the Porofessor information goes, this is about all it gives. Porofessor displays its analytics mostly after the game, but it will give you coaching during the game to show you that you will need to aspire to having more gold than you're supposed to have. Porofessor thrives on telling you that you are a poor, unwashed peasant who clearly missed a minion and will lose the game because of it. Switching right back into Mobalytics, they have a lot of information in-game that you can use. It's at your disposal. A lot of it's useless though. For example, I still do not think that knowing the number of fully built items everyone has is helpful on their tab when you can just hit tab normally and see all the items everyone has. I do like the gold rankings, and you can see who you're ahead of and who you're behind, who are you a simp to, etc. I also think it's cool that you can see the different champion abilities in game. Wait, I think that's cool. No, that ain't right. If you're pulling that shit up, good fucking luck to you. I want to hear from you if you do. Let me know in the comments if you're looking up champions' abilities in-game, because you clearly aren't paying enough attention to the game itself. I'm certainly not using it. As I mentioned earlier, Mobalytics does have skill suggestions, but don't be a sheep. Upgrade what you want, not always what it suggests. Mobalytics also puts up in the top right when everyone hits 6, and when you buy certain items like thornmails and that kind of thing. I dig that. I'm a huge fan. In round 2, the edge is going to Mobalytics strictly because it gives more information than Porofessor. Personally, I may not use a lot of it, but I do see its value, and that's really what counts. That is not to say that Porofessor is bad at the during-game stuff, but Mobalytics brings a lot more to the table, even if I find a decent amount of it absolutely useless. It's 1-1, we are going into the post-game. This post-game breakdown is brought to you by a razor that you're supposed to use on your dimpled scrotum. I seriously can't tell if calling a razor a weed whacker is a good or bad marketing plan. Either way, I get to make fun of it. Let's break this down. Porofessor has your standard endgame, kills, deaths, assists, gold count, vision, etc. It also tracks gold advantage, damage dealt in handy charts on the right side of the app. Keep in mind, what I'm about to say applies to everyone in the game. You can check out everyone's stats, not just your own. I'm going to be using my own stats for this comparison, no shit. There are percentages on my teamfight, win rate, duels, kills under turret, teamfight participation, solo deaths, and deaths tower diving. Then there are charts comparing to any rank of your choosing, as well as the opponent laner. Porofessor has more charts than you will know what to do with. It's got a chart for this, it's got a chart for that, it's got a chart coming out of its own ass. There are so many charts, holy shit. You can have charts farming objectives and vision comparing an average rank and the opponent. So many charts, charts. This is great, so you can Poindexter your way to the epitome of trash talk in the final lobby. Knowing you CS 0.3 faster than your laner can be the difference in winning the shit-talking match at the end of the game or being turned into an absolute simp. You can also see a side-by-side breakdown with all the other people in the game all at once. For your convenience, the highest number is highlighted so you can easily see who has the highest damage to champions. Did I mention they have charts? I wish they would highlight the lowest in red too, that way you really know who in the game is the biggest simp. But I think we're missing the point here. I think the point is that Porofessor has a lot of charts. We gotta see those charts, guys, come on. In the postgame, Mobalytics has all your standard endgame info, kills, deaths, assists, items, gold, etc. Where it stands apart from Porofessor is the in-game insights. It talks about what you did well and what you screwed the pooch on, meaning it will rip you on CS score, it will talk shit and comment a lot of things if you had a bad game, and it will say mildly nice things if you did well. Hey, did I mention that Porofessor has a lot of charts? But Mobalytics also has charts. They use bar graphs instead of line graphs. Did I mention that, everything has charts, guys? Anyway, you can compare everyone's damage dealt, gold income, wards placed. Mobalytics displays who is the best in a number of categories in this match details. If you aren't at the top across that screen, well, I've got some bad news for you. When it comes to the post-game, Mobalytics and Porofessor both give you a lot of the same information. Porofessor has more charts, though, and charts are important. Porofessor dominates in terms of the most information given, despite Mobalytics giving more of a trainer's critique with the in-game insights. The edge is going to Porofessor. 2-1 Porofessor, Mobalytics cannot afford to lose in this last category. Can they force a tiebreaker round? We are about to find out. And comment down below that Porofessor has more charts. Going into the fourth and final category, overall. Overall gameplay quality depends on what you mean by gameplay quality. Overwolf is heavy and could easily slow down your computer and drop you in frames. Then again, so could playing on some McDonald's ass Wi-Fi. You know exactly who you are. So this is really a toss-up, which will contribute to the best quality of the game. I could honestly flip a coin, I'm not going to. My PC can run Overwolf products without a struggle because I have a custom-built PC and I invested a lot of money into it. If you're playing on a laptop and don't have an external monitor, I can see how Mobalytics is more beneficial. However, I'm not on a laptop and I don't need to worry about overlay space. What I'm really saying is that the quality is good for both, but as far as my gameplay, Porofessor, I think, is more in line with what I am looking for in the game at this moment, so I'm going to have to give it up to the snowball-looking logo. Porofessor is taking the win over Mobalytics in a 3-to-1 decision. It might also have to do with Porofessor having more charts. Now, don't be discouraged if your boy Mobalytics did not win this. It still has a lot of good stuff going for it outside of the game. It is an excellent trainer, but in this analysis, it got absolutely smoked. Porofessor takes this win, and I've been rambling on for far too long. So before you leave, do me a favor and drop a comment. What are your thoughts? Did I miss something? Let me know. And as always, drop a like and subscribe if you are new. I will see you on the next one. Adios.